Hi, welcome back. We have a review today of what I'm crowning the coolest little EDC flashlight I've ever come across, and it's from the guys at Wuben. I've reviewed one of their little flashlights before. They make some really dinky, cool looking little pieces. I reviewed their little XO model previously. Really neat colours, little aluminium frame to it, and then a on-off with just that top piece. Very cool indeed. Wuben, the XO Night, that was called. But we now have the X3, which I had not seen before, and came across it, bought it, got it sent here, and this is it. Now it looks a little unusual at first, but you're going to be blown away by some of these design features. I was absolutely amazed by this stuff, and I'm pretty sure when you see this you're going to need one. It's the only flashlight I've ever brought home where my partner said to me, oh my god, that's so cool, I want one. And she hates EDC stuff, you know, she just thinks it's all like, oh, blokey weird little tools and whatever, and she doesn't really like any of it, but this is the only piece she's like, I really want one of those. So if they release them in baby blue or pink, I'll probably have to buy her one as well. Where do we start? Okay, well, at first what we look at is we have what appears to be a right angle torch. It's got a see-through polymer body, then it's got that aluminium head to it, which has obviously got the two flashlight lenses there. Then we have an operating button on top and what appears to be a screen. We've got a pocket clip at the back, and then two strange looking little round things at the bottom. So we'll show what they do in a minute, but let's just go across the basic functions. So if we press that once, it comes on, and if we hold it down, as you can see, it cycles through from low to medium to high. So we have low at 1 lumen, medium at 50 lumens, and then high at 150 lumens. But it doesn't end there, because you can get a lot more lumens out of this thing. If we turn it off, double click, we now have 700 lumens in turbo mode. And you can see on the top there, it actually tells you on that little screen if you can see it. If we turn that off, come back on, and then we cycle through those, it tells you each time your lumen output, tells you which level you're on as well. So we're on level 3 there, and then it tells you your battery life as well. And I'm not sure what it says when you put it into turbo mode. Yeah, it does actually say turbo on there, if you can see that. So really nice to have a screen. I love the fact that you can see how much battery's on there. I like that you can quickly check, you know, how many lumens you're putting out. It's kind of a neat little thing, but that isn't the only little trick that this has got. So the next neat thing this can do is, obviously we have a right angle torch, looks a little bit like an owl. Now I saw this 180 on the back and I thought, 180, what does that mean? It looks like a 180 little zero. I figured maybe that's a degree sign, and I had to fiddle with this and I couldn't seem to turn it, and then it dawned on me, you can actually rotate the whole thing. So now you have a torch that's pointing frontward. That whole thing just turns like so. Very cool, really neat. You get a little kind of snick as it sits into place. It's held there really securely, and then again you can use that as a standard torch, then just hold it in that manner. Now you might be wondering, but why has it got two bulbs on there? Because from off, if you hold the button down, now you have a red light instead. Do things in the dark, if you're hunting or anything like that, I do use a red light for that kind of thing, because animals don't seem to pick up the contrast quite as much. So if you want to stay a bit more covert, then red lights are really, really useful. And if you hold it down again, you have an 80 lumen red light. And then to turn off, you just click off, and the next time you use the torch, it'll come back onto its normal white light, like so. So what are these two, what look like electrodes in the back? Well, first of all, they are magnets, so you can actually magnetize that to the wall, or whatever you're working on in the workshop, you can stick that on there. And because it's got the swiveling head, it's got a lot of different options. You know, if you wanted to magnetize and look up at something underneath a car that you were working on, doing some engineering or mechanics, this has got far more options to kind of stick it to a metal surface and actually get some good light on what you're working on. So really, really ideal for that. It's also a really tiny little form factor, you can see that, and it doesn't weigh too much, so very nice to carry around. We haven't finished with the cool stuff yet. There's more to come, and we have this, a little aluminium charging case. So you can actually keep this in there, that keeps it nice and safe. But also this is a 3000 milliamp hour battery in here that will hold charge, and then you can just pop this in if you're out and about and it runs out of charge, and then you can see we're charging in there. Little blue light on to indicate charging down there, and the battery indicator moving. But we're not done yet. This is also a power bank, so if you're not using it to charge up your device, you can draw power from it to charge up your phone or something like that. And this is really cool. So it comes with this strap, which I didn't even notice at first, but it had these two strange looking clips on it, and if you push them in, that is actually the USB cable there. And then open up that little waterproof flap at the front, you can plug that in like so. If we plug that into the phone, you can see we're charging the phone, and while it's charging the phone, it was still charging that, so it will charge both things at once. It has a little button on there, so if you want to see how much power this thing has, you can press like so. It will blink for a blue light and say it's got power, or it will be red light if it doesn't have power. You can even press that button when the flap is down. They've cleverly thought of that too. You can even run the torch whilst it's in the charger, because they've put a cutout in the top there, so you can pop that in charging, turn the torch on and run it, and it is still charging up. Hopefully we can see at the front there, still charging, lights are on. If you hit this button 4 times, you can actually send it into lock mode. So that should now be locked. Yeah, you can see the little lock on there. So now we're not getting anything at all. If you're carrying it in your pocket or something like that, hit it another 4 times. It'll turn lock mode off. It just comes on to let you know lock mode is now off. If we hit it triple time, we get the strobe emergency signal. I never particularly use them, but if you're stuck in an emergency, it may be useful to you. And if we hit the button 5 times, it glows up blue in the body of the light. Now you might wonder what benefit that is, other than the fact that it looks really cool to have some blue lights in there, but it does actually have a function, like everything on this, that when you put it in your charging port, it will actually glow blue in there, so that if it was really dark, you could still see that glowing, and it would allow you to basically find that in a dark tent or something like that. So very, very useful. I'm absolutely blown away by the guys at Wuben and how much thought they've put into this. For such a tiny little device, it just does everything that you can imagine. It's like the Apple Watch of torches, you know. I can't imagine a torch with more convenient kind of functions and little tricks and stuff, and that's what my partner liked so much about it. She was seeing all this stuff and she was like, oh my god, that's so amazing. How much are one of these? Well, if you order direct from Wuben, all the prices are in dollars there. So for my US viewers, then that will be of great interest to you, because they actually have a deal on at the moment. It's reduced from $85 down to $66, or just under $65.59, and you can just go on the site and get that sent straight to you. I believe they will send to other countries as well. The trouble is that in the UK we're going to get hit with some taxes and charges and whatever. We're going to be smashed by that, so it might be wise to buy it elsewhere. I've actually found it on Amazon for about £77. I'll stick a link up for that below for the UK guys, but this is an absolute bargain. Like £77 for the amount of things this gives you. It gives you a charging device for your phones and all that while you're camping, plus an amazing little torch that has a load of different functions to it. Great addition to the tool shed or your man cave, and then it's just an absolute pleasure to use it. So this is going to be part of my EDC from now on. I wasn't so sure I was going to like this. I thought, it looks a bit strange, you know, it had that right angle head on it. But when I found out that rotated and it basically does everything I could have ever imagined I would want a flashlight to do, that was it for me. I was sold. I'm all in. I've had this for a few weeks. It's been running absolutely fine. If there's any problems in the future, like any other gear I review, I will stick them up and just give a truthful update on that, but I don't expect it to. It's incredibly well made. Of course, all companies have their quality control issues, that can't be avoided, but so far, like I say, I've had the XO from Wuben for like a year and a half, 2 years now, and that still runs perfectly fine. Really, really good piece of kit, and people always ask me about that as well, just because it's so beautifully made and so dinky. Really, really nice little torch to strap onto a, you know, a backpack or something like that, just as a kind of extra accessory, and people always ask and talk about that. So hopefully we'll be reviewing a lot more Wuben stuff in the future, because I think they're a fantastic company. Let me know if you've got any Wuben products and what you think about them. Chuck a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this. And guys, I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.